everybody. This is Winston Anderson, better known as the Anointed Disciple, coming to you with true knowledge straight from the Bible for the last days and time. Listen, I'm going to redo this. What are we doing, America? DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I did the wrong version last time, but this is the right version, okay? So bear with me. At the end of the video, please stick around to the end so you can like, subscribe, and share my video with your friends. Let somebody know that, hey, this dude is talking real stuff here. He knows what he's talking about. So here it is. What is diversity, equity, and inclusion? Diversity, equity, and inclusion is a concept and practice used by organizations to recognize and value differences among people, ensure fair opportunities for everyone, and foster a work environment where all feel welcomed and respected. DEI refers to practices and policies intended to support people who come from varying backgrounds and give them the resources they need to thrive in the workplace. DEI frameworks take into account factors like race, gender, and sexual orientation, so teams can find ways to help employees from marginalized groups succeed. DEI are organizational frameworks which seek to promote the fair treatment and full participation of all people, particularly groups who have been historically underrepresented or subject to discrimination on the basis of identity or disability. Okay, let's start with diversity. Diversity is a noun, the state of being diverse. Variety, a range of different things. The practice or quality of including or involving people from a range of different social and ethnic backgrounds and of different gender, sexual orientations, etc. Equity is a noun and means justice according to the natural law or right, specifically freedom from bias or favoritism, something that is equitable, equal justice, fairness. Inclusion is a noun, the action or state of including or of being included within a group or structure, a person or thing that is included within a larger group or structure, the practice or policy of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized, such as those who have physical or intellectual disabilities and members of other minority groups. So, Republicans want to talk about DEI. I watch Fox News, and all day long they talk about DEI. So what are they talking about? What does DEI mean? What do they think it means? Okay, um, I hear DEI all day long on Fox News. All the sycophants, all the Republican, uh, every Republican that could walk through there and all day long on Fox News, every program they hammer it. DEI, DEI. They stay on message. Fox is known for that. Okay. Oh well, that's just swell. That's what they used to say in the old days. So let's talk about DEI, but not as they evaluate it. Let's keep it real. Let's get down to the real nitty gritty. They also used to say that in the old days. Why do I keep referring to the old days? Because that's where we have to go to get the real answers. You see, back in my day, in order to get a chance to even compete for a job with a white male, a black person had to be at least twice as intelligent, twice as good, or twice as qualified at whatever was necessary. If we were just as smart or just as good, not good enough, and we were summarily passed over. If we could not establish the fact that we not only matched our white counterpart, but greatly exceeded them, we did not stand a chance. That was just the fact, Jack, an accepted norm during our time. That was the whole idea behind affirmative action. Finally, a program that actually gave people of color a chance to get their foot in the door. We got our foot in the door. Wow. The concept aimed to ensure that marginalized, wait a minute, let me see, I missed something. To finally be seen as an equal. Okay, that's what I missed. What is affirmative action and why was it created? The concept aimed to ensure that marginalized groups were afforded equal opportunities for advancement and inclusion. Executive Order 10925 EO, signed by President John F. Kennedy, my favorite president. Oh, until Obama. John F. Kennedy in 1961 was the first official policy to implement affirmative action. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 advanced the conversation forward by prohibiting employment discrimination by large employers, those with more than 15 employees, whether or not they had government contracts, and created the Equal Opportunity Commission. Even then, it was not enough to make the real difference. Discrimination continues even till today. In 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson issued Executive Order 11246, requiring federal contractors to take affirmative action to ensure equality of employment opportunity without regard to race, religion, or national origin. In 1968, gender was added to protect those categories, to protect women. Okay, this was because the Jim Crow laws, a collection of state and local statutes that legalized racial segregation, were used to disenfranchise and subjugate marginalized communities: blacks, Hispanics, Asian and Pacific Islanders, Indians, and Jews, or women of all shades. I remember I was in high school when it started. I was a good student who got good grades because I went to Catholic school before I went to public school. But I got good grades, especially in science. I was a straight A student in chemistry, biology, and physics, my favorite subjects. I went to my school counselor to ask him about going to college to study chemistry. And do you know what that man, an older white man, told me? Quote, "Oh, I'm sorry. There's no such thing as a black chemist. Maybe you should look into something more suitable for you, like food service or woodworking." What the natural expletive deleted. Woodworking or food service? Is that what they thought was the only thing black people could aspire to? Luckily, our school had two black counselors, a husband and wife, as a matter of fact, the Alexanders. Thank God for them. Mr. Alexander heard the whole conversation and stopped me before I cussed that man out. He could see it in my eyes. I was going to let him have it. I was going to go ham on him. He pulled me in his office. Told me, "Hey, don't listen to that guy. Listen to me. I can tell you, you can aspire to be anything that you want to be, and whatever you put your mind to, you can do it." That man was a godsend. He gave me the courage to follow my dreams and fight for what I really wanted. Fate is a funny thing, you know. It just so happened after I graduated, I had a couple of small jobs, but my first real job was at Eastman Kodak on Lake Avenue. And guess what my job was? I, believe it or not, was the first African American to work in research and development as a chemical engineer at Eastman Kodak. Yes, I was. I was very good at my job, and I liked my job. Everything was going great. We were a team, okay? I was accepted as an equal, finally, or so I thought. We would go to lunch together, play pool or ping pong in the lounge. Sometimes we'd even go outside and play basketball. And, then we returned to the office and we would just, you know, shoot the bull for about 15, 20 minutes, play chess, talk. I even played chess with the project manager. And, we'd be there in the office for about 15, 20 minutes, drinking coffee. And then he said, okay, guys, time to go back to work. There was no problem at all. We were a team. Things were going great. Now, there were other people who ate lunch when we did, and some of them were black. But I noticed all of the other black people on the job were either in housekeeping or in food service. I was the only black person who worked with the engineers because I had the grades. After getting it was an apprenticeship program. After getting to know some of them by playing pool or basketball, I became acquainted with them and they accepted me as cool enough to hang out with them. They said, oh, he ain't no white boy. He ain't no Oreo. He cool. So one day we all go up to eat lunch like we normally do. And they said, hey, the black guy said, hey, Winston, why don't you come and sit with the brothers today? I said, okay, no problem. I thought nothing of it. I sat with them. We ate lunch. We played the game of pool, the game of ping pong. And when I finished, I noticed what time it was. And I said, oh, it's time to go back downstairs to the office. So as I approached the office, I could hear them talking. When I arrived at the office, they were talking until I opened the door and walked in. Then it got silent. One by one, they all walked out. No one said one word to me, not even the guy that I played chess with every day. They left me in that room all alone by myself, wondering, what just happened? What I do wrong? And then suddenly I noticed that maybe it's because they noticed when I sat with the brothers, they were like, oh my God, he's a nigger. What have I done? How could I have messed that up so miserably? My goodness. From that day forward, no one hardly spoke to me. They all thought it was necessary just to tell me what to do, like they treated the other black people. There was no longer an equal. There was no longer a banter back and forth. We never played chess anymore. Okay? Just because I sat with the brothers one day. Then something funny began to happen. All of a sudden, it was time for me to learn something new. Now, my actual job was working a machine called the Jetamizer. I was making grinding a chemical called, um, we produced an emulsion called P10545. When you hold a picture in your hand, the white stuff that's on the back of the picture, that's what we made. Okay. So when mixing it in the first vat, it had to be at a specific gravity of 38.45 before you could send it over to the second vat. And it had to be recorded in a book. Every time I made that chemical for the first vat was exactly 38.45. But when I went to record it in the book, when I looked in the book, nobody else even came close. Sometimes they went up from 38 to 40, and sometimes they went down as low as 36.5, but never actually 38.45, not once. But all of mine were exactly 38.45. Ain't bad. So then as the weeks went by, I learned how to do the first vat and the second vat, and I'm still doing the Jetamizer, right? Then I learned the first vat, the second vat, the third vat. The first vat, the second vat, and the centrifuge, and then it would go to the Jetamizer. So now I'm doing all the work, and as I'm doing all the work, everybody else is moving up, moving into the lab. I'm doing all the work like a Hebrew slave. I'm doing everything, running back and forth from this vat to that vat to the centrifuge to the Jetamizer and back to the first vat. I'm like, what the hell? I learned every single job on there. And as I learned, my coworkers would move up and they all went to the lab. I was never invited to the lab. I was too busy working my ass off. But like I said before, that was expected. That was the expected norm of that time. So you see, we as African Americans have to be perfect or close to perfect as we can be just to be accepted. So wear that DEI as a badge of honor. Don't shy away from it. Embrace it and say, yes, I am a DEI hire. That means I am actually smarter and superior to you just to be considered as an equal. Call me DEI all you want, but don't you ever think that you can try to decipher what it means, because it does not mean what you think it means. No, we will control the narrative on that. It is not up to you, it is up to us. It's not that we get a job or position we did not deserve just because we were people of color or a female or whatever. It doesn't mean we took a job away from a more qualified white person. What it actually means is we had to be twice as qualified just to be considered for the job. Thank you very much. Listen, a few years ago, when I left my job at the city school district who I worked for 10 years, I went to New York State to work at a boys detention center in 1990. I learned about the hierarchy on the job at a WAC residential center. I noticed we had something very strange. We had 3 buildings that housed 20 residents each, and there were 3 YDA3s on the shift and 2 youth division counselors, YDCs. So two YDA3s and 2 YDCs on each building. Now, the funny thing was that on each building, they had a YDC who was black and a senior YDC who was white, who made more money. Also, I found out that each black YDC had a higher college degree, more experience, and more time in service than the white senior YDC. Go figure. So when I asked how could this be, I was told, don't ask. You see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It still continues to today. It does not end. So you see, when the Supreme Court nullified affirmative action, they were wrong. And no, DEI does not mean less qualified. It means just the opposite. Even if we have more time in service, more experience, even if we're more qualified and have a higher college degree than our white male counterparts, we are still subordinate and less likely to get the position just because of racism. Racism is not dead. As a matter of fact, since Barack Obama was elected as the first black president, thank you very much, we have seen racism rise its ugly head to the point where an actual, real DEI candidate, Donald Trump, was elected as president of the United States of America. Why? Racism. Because he would say out loud what most racists were thinking, but were afraid to say because they didn't want the controversy. They didn't want to lose their jobs or be called a racist. He didn't care. He embraced the hate. He never held public office, nor was he ever in the military, and he had absolutely zero experience as a politician or public servant. So, how are you going to put a guy like that as a president? Talking about his business acumen? Look at all his bankruptcies. All his businesses failed. Every one of them. What business acumen? People need to open your eyes and wake up, man. So call me DEI. I am not ashamed. But you will not define what it means, because it really doesn't mean what you think it means. I know what it means. DEI stands for damn it, everybody's included. Now, mind you, I already know we won't be invited to some of all of your barbecues, and we damn sure ain't gonna follow some of y'all into the woods. Yeehaw! Mm-mm. If you really want to get a glimpse of where DEI is truly needed, look no further than the U.S. Senate. The Republican Party is a party we are not invited to. They have their own agenda. You know, like how an all white Republican Senate refused to impeach Donald Trump after he was already impeached in the House because of his all whiteness. Okay, I know what you're going to say. Tim Scott. Yes, Tim Scott adds a little color to their otherwise monochromatic proceedings. Just as for a long time, Justice Clarence Thomas was the only black face you saw on the Supreme Court. Yet everybody knows, it ain't no secret, that both of them are Klondike bars. They may be dark and chocolatey on the outside, but on the inside, they's all pure vanilla ice cream, baby. So you can't even use them as your token nigga. They don't fit the bill. So in closing, I would just like to say, people of color, women, and those who want to determine their pronouns, don't run from DEI. Embrace it. Be thankful for it. But don't let it define you. You redefine it. We are not taking any jobs or positions from our white male counterparts like the Republicans and Fox News are trying to appropriate it as such. No, on the contrary, DEI just means we are more qualified, dignified, but vilified and stigmatized, just so we can get a chance to be verified and equalized to get an opportunity at the coveted prize, the job. And that's my word. DEI stands for Defy Every Injustice. We must fight for our rights and defy every reference that unjustly accuses people of color or women of being less than, or not good enough, or merely a color hire or inclusivity hire, which took a position from a more qualified white male. That is just pure propaganda perpetrated by Fox News and all of the other alt-right and far-right channels like Newsmax, Breitbart, and OANN, One America News Network. On the contrary, even if it was a DEI hire, you better believe that candidate for the job had to be twice as good as their white male counterpart, and that's keeping it real. So yeah, I'm DEI, and now you know why. So if you must entertain yourself with the notion of DEI, stop trying to make everyone believe it means something it does not. What you are really attempting to indoctrinate is dehumanizing, engineered institutionalism. That is your modus operandi. But we are not falling for it. Call me DEI one more time, and everyone will know exactly what you mean. As the facade of superiority fades into the moonlight, and you succumb to your own sword, and you are foisted upon your own petard. Thank you so much for the admission of submission to your own fragility, knowing that one of you thought you should have had a position that was attained by someone you thought was your subordinate, who outwitted and outmatched you and the status quo. Take that with you and have fun with that. DEI, divinely enlightened individual. Yeah, that's me, baby. AD. I'll even give you a verse from the Bible. As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. That is the 319 of Revelation. Don't touch that dial. Don't change the station. You don't want to miss the next generation. I'll see you guys again real soon. Please like, subscribe, and share. The algorithm says If y'all don't give me likes, y'all don't subscribe to my channel, I go nowhere. Love you. Bye.